In this video, we'll go over how to train our dogs to go through an agility tunnel. If you don't have an agility tunnel, you can find them online. Agility tunnels that work really well are ones that are big enough for your dog to go through, so it should be tall enough that your dog can walk through it without having to crawl through on their belly. It also helps if your agility tunnel is shorter, so shorter in length like this instead of a very long agility tunnel. And that's just because you'll be taking your tunnel into different facilities, and it's a lot easier if you can transport the tunnel easily. Also, in the facilities, you might not have a ton of room to work with, so if your agility tunnel is shorter, you have a lot more options for space that you can use the tunnel in. Your tunnel also doesn't have to be a specific dog agility tunnel. Some other things that work really well are collapsible laundry hampers, if you cut out the bottom of that. Also, collapsible lawn debris bags work really well. Again, just cut out the very bottom of that bag. You can also use 2 hula hoops and tie a sheet between them to create your own tunnel. If you have a small dog, children's play tunnels work really well for this too. The tunnel is a great way to promote problem solving, and that's because your client can help you determine where to place the tunnel in the room so that it doesn't roll while your dog is in it. They can also help identify objects such as cones or chairs or something like that you can set up next to the tunnel to keep the tunnel from rolling. The tunnel is also really great for spatial awareness, so the client can help you determine where the tunnel will go, that your dog has enough room to go into and out of the tunnel. Set up your tunnel so that when your dog exits, they're exiting into a spacious part of the room, so don't set up the tunnel so that they go through it and then come out next to a wall or something like that.
Always make sure that your tunnel isn't going to roll away while your dog is inside of it. So here I'm using dumbbells to keep it in place. Chairs or plastic cones also work really well. Make sure you pay attention to where you set up your dog. If your dog is several feet from the mouth of the tunnel, they'll probably go around it instead of through it. So make sure that they're nice and close to the front of the tunnel. You can either ask your dog to wait and then call them through the tunnel, or walk past the tunnel with them. Here, I'm going to ask Dale to wait, walk to the other end of the tunnel, and then call him through. Alternatively, I could start on the same end of the tunnel with him, tell him to tunnel, and then I'll walk past the tunnel as he goes through it. If your dog is new to the tunnel, you can use your human assistant to help make the tunnel nice and short for the first couple times through. Call them through, give them lots of praise and treats when they get through that tunnel. Once they start to get the hang of it, make the tunnel a little bit longer. They'll start to get the hang of this longer tunnel, and you can keep making it longer until it's its full length. Notice that Dale's only getting treats outside of the tunnel after he's gone through it. We're not putting treats inside of the tunnel, and that's for safety because some dogs will go in the tunnel, eat the treat, try to turn around, and then get stuck in the tunnel. In the next step, we can start calling Dale through the tunnel. So I'll stay on the same side of the tunnel with him, and my assistant will go on the other side. He'll call Dale through the tunnel. He can show him a treat, but he won't throw the treat inside of the tunnel. Once Dale's through, he can go ahead and get that treat. It'll work best if you stay close to the front of the mouth of the tunnel, and your human assistant can stick their whole head into the tunnel so that your dog can really see where they're supposed to be going. Once your dog is to this point, you can practice calling them through the tunnel by yourself. So I'll go to one end of the tunnel, I'll tell Dale to wait, and then I'll go to the other end, and then I'll call him through the tunnel. Once you're to this point, you can work on sending your dog through the tunnel while you go past the tunnel as your dog is going through it. You'll want to use a verbal cue and a hand signal for this. You'll notice that my hand signal, I point into the mouth of the tunnel. That hand has to be empty. If you have a treat in that hand, your dog will get distracted by the treat and they probably won't go through the tunnel. After I tell Dale to tunnel, I'm going to keep talking to him the whole time he's in the tunnel. So I'll say tunnel, and then I'll say come on, come on, come on as he goes through the tunnel. Your dog sometimes will get lost in the tunnel and they just want to know where you are. So keep talking to them and then they'll know what's going on.
Your goal for final evaluation is that your dog waits until you send them through the tunnel. You can either have your dog wait and then walk to the other end of the tunnel and then call them through the tunnel, or you can start on the same side of the tunnel with your dog, send them through, and then you'll walk past the tunnel while they go through it.